Blog Talk Radio.
Good morning. Good morning. We are live on Loudmouth Radio, and as always, it's an awesome time to be on air. Today is Wednesday, April 10th, 2019. Guys, can you already believe it? We're full swing in spring, and we're already almost 2 weeks into April. Time is flying and is waiting on no man. So I hope today you guys are ready for an awesome show. As always, we're so appreciative to be on air. And we're so thankful for our listening audience, and we're going to make sure that we get you guys in touch with us to be able to talk to us while we're on air live. And our studio lines are open. That number is 347-826-7520. And if you have questions, anything like that, we're going to give you further instruction on how to communicate with us. So when you dial the actual number on the studio line, you'll have the opportunity to hit the one on your keypad. That will alert us on our switchboard in the studio and know that we want to have a conversation and you want to be heard. So make no hesitation. Today's show is always going to give you some interesting topics and something that you're going to be able to learn and gather from. So if you have not had an opportunity to check out our broadcast, we have been streaming now for 6 years, 2013. God has been awesome to us as a network, and we're growing in leaps and bounds. We started out as a steady few and have grown tremendously into ability to be over multiple dynamic platforms. So for those folks that got iPhones, Androids, it doesn't matter. If you have your tablet, your computer, you can stream us right on your phones. There's so many apps that we're streaming through. Stitcher Radio, iTunes, TuneIn, you name it, we own it. And so we hope that you are connecting to us. And, of course, we're on live right now at blogtalkradio.com/loudmouthradio, which is with 2 Ds. And if you have not heard, we ain't going nowhere. We intend on keeping the thrill of bringing you some great news, information, and interesting topics. One of our baby shows here at Tea Time, we're on air today to always highlight amazing entrepreneurs that are doing things around the world that people need to be aware of and know about. And so today we hope that you gather and get something that will touch your heart and give you maybe give you some inspiration, hopefully empower you, inspire you to do something and be great. So if you have not had an opportunity to do that, tell you right now that we are able to take different topics, different conversations, different points of messages. If you have not had an opportunity to listen to our show, you can always pull up our archives. Every show we've ever done from 2013 till now is accessible for your listening ear. So if you can, be a part of this topic by submitting information on our website at loudmouthradio.com. Make sure you put in 2 Ds. You have to have 2 Ds in order to hear and find our information. If you don't see that big red mouse, then you're not on the right network. Today's special guest, we're going to bring in our guests. We're going to take a quick commercial break because our media partners are important to our network. And we're thriving, and we're so excited about 2019 and building our network as we continue on our journey. And I want to encourage you to become a media partner. And so how do you do that? Contact us at loudmouthradio.com. You can submit your information through the contact page, and we'll make sure we get in touch with you. If you have some thoughts and stuff like that, send them in right there. We'll get them, we'll retrieve them. And from there, we'll be able to establish an opportunity for your media partnership to be enthroned into our actual network. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll have our special guest of Off the Blue Couch, which I know you guys are going to really, really enjoy this. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Loudmouth Radio Network. Insurance Associates Atlanta, formerly Mathis Insurance Services, is an independent agency offering personal, commercial, life, and health insurance products to meet the needs of your business and your family. We specialize in helping you protect all of your assets, whether you're purchasing insurance for the first time or searching for better products at a better price. Feel free to contact us at 770-483-0310. We're conveniently located at 1030 Remington Drive in Conyers, Georgia. Visit us online at insurance-iaa.com.
All right, and we're back. I'm so excited about today's show. Like I said prior to the break, Tea Time, the Entrepreneur Academy, is a very important segment where we want to feature good stories and information about entrepreneurs and people in business around the world that is trying to make a difference in their communities. So today we have a very special guest. Off the Blue Couch is a nonprofit organization that has been inspired from the life of Audua Pugh and her transformational journey through drugs and alcohol to recovery, college, death, life, the things she's learned along the way and the things that got left behind. And the purpose of Off the Blue Couch is to promote healing and recovery for the underrepresented, marginalized communities with current or historic trauma by providing educational services, skill development, career exploitation development, historical overview, and environmental education, which I think all of these are some very amazing topics and things that are very much needed in our communities. And so through this nonprofit, they're providing these options in a collaborative effort to hopefully empower and thereby improve the quality of life in the target communities that they're serving. So without further ado, I'm going to bring our special guest on the line. You are welcome to Loudmouth Radio. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Sonny? Thank you for this opportunity.
I am doing well. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm a little tired, but I'm okay. We got a new kitten, right? And so this new kitten is more than I thought he was going to be. He's a handful, but it's a joy.
Oh. Well, he's got a purpose, evidently, because, pets help to bring so much joy, and people don't realize, honey, they are a whole nother responsibility, just like a child.
Yes, definitely.
Well, I wanted to, I kind of gave a little bit of information about your organization, but I definitely know that you have so much more to give us, and I want to just kind of start off with you telling us, who you are and what has taken you through these journeys to incorporate and create Off the Blue Couch?
Okay, well, first off, I own the Blue Couch. So Off the Blue Couch, the name Off the Blue Couch is I actually own the Blue Couch, but it's also a metaphor for despair and hopelessness. And so when I had the blue couch, and it was actually in my house. I had dark blue furniture. I was in a state of where I used drugs. Crack cocaine was my drug of choice, and alcohol, and so they went simultaneously together. And when I used drugs, that's where I got high at most of the time. I was on this couch. What I realized later is that couch was my island, and it had hold of me. And so when I was living a life that I didn't want to live, the person that I was, I didn't want to be. And so I didn't know what else to do. Once I sat there and I realized that I was in a room full of people and I still felt alone, I knew that there was something that had to change in my life. And this is funny, is because I kept praying even when I could see myself hitting the pipe, right, because I smoked the pipe.
Mm-hmm.
I saw myself, I would be sitting there hitting the pipe and I would be praying and I was like asking God, please God, take this away from me. And so I would hit the pipe, and then afterward I would drink alcohol, and I would drink a lot of alcohol depending on how the hit me. And so after that I would throw up, right? And then I would drink some more, and I would do it again. And so my insides would like be raw, right? And I'm like, but I'm steady praying, asking God to deliver me from these drugs and alcohol. And I'm constantly doing this, right? And then one day, after my insides was totally raw, it hit me and said, stupid, He is taking it away from you. You keep putting it back in there.
Right. Wow.
So after I had burned my insides out, I finally got it, and I think enough was enough. And for me, God was on my daughter's grandmother's balcony.
Okay.
And that's where I needed to be. And so I called her one day after I had just got so sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I called her, and I asked her to come and get me because I needed to go where God was, and that was on her balcony. And when she came and got me, I didn't tell her why I was there. But the first place that I went after I dropped my bags is I went to that balcony in the space between the trees, and I talked to God. And I stayed at her house. She didn't really find out until why I was there, until 7 days later. And I explained to her why I was there. And then on the 10th day, I said, I'm ready to go home now. And she said, are you sure? And I said, I'm positive. And I haven't used drugs or alcohol since. And when I got home, the first thing I did, 14 years. And so two things I did first. One was I cleaned out this drawer. You know how you have a bureau and you have the top drawer and it's a junk drawer? The first thing I did was clean out that drawer, and everything in there was garbage. And then the second thing I did was throw out that couch.
Man.
The blue couch. Like so I got off the blue couch. Yeah.
Girl.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Wow. So for you, it's been 14 years since that time period. Like,
yes.
What trying times, and I know you've had some, were there some points from that point to this point where you were being pulled and you just kind of had to, keep fighting to not go back?
Always. It's always a pull, but for me, my relationship with God means everything to me, and I know some people don't believe in God, but you have to believe. I firmly believe that you have to believe in something other than yourself, because if you can get out of it, you would. But I believe in God and I believe in Jesus, and that's my personal belief. And I don't want to damage my relationship with God and with Jesus because it means everything to me. And besides that, you have to start off at 1 second of clean. 1 second leads to 1 minute to 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week. And so you trying to tell me that I got to start all over at one? Yes. After 14 years, I got to start at 1 second to 1 minute to 1 hour to 1 day. And I know that my third month was the hardest month of my life, and you mean I got to relive that all over again, coupled with the fact that I'm going to die spiritually because I'm going to lose my connection with God, so I feel. And I could actually die physically because I'm so stupid that I'm going to try to consume the same amount of drugs or alcohol that I consumed in the first place, which because I haven't done drugs and alcohol in 14 years, I can't. So I could die physically too, and I've already done that. I don't want to do that. So I said no, and that's my motivation. No, I'm not doing that because I don't want to die physically, spiritually, and I don't want to start over at one second.
Wow. You know what? I'm going to tell you something. Yeah. The truth of the matter is what people don't realize, and, you know, your bout has been with drug addiction. We all have our vices. We all have something.
Yes, we do.
It could be numerous things that we have to deal with. And I wanted to stop and tell you right now that your courage to speak on all of this, and I know this is a part of the pattern in which you provide, is a platform for people to hear and speak to you in reference to their struggles, because that's a big part of what you're doing through your organization and speaking about this. So I know that you speak about this a lot of times, but today's a little different because we're on a live segment that has ultimate reach or anywhere around the world for people to hear this story. And with you telling your story, every time that you do that, it's an accountability moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so important to tell your story, because in telling your story, and I know people are like, well, you don't get tired of telling it. You can't, because when you actually physically speak it and talk about it, it helps to put it right back in front of you and say, look where I've come from, right? And then it also gives life to what you need to do to keep moving forward. And so,
that's right.
You know, I've never really done any type of drugs. I've had, well, I'll say I tried marijuana, which most people have. When I was in college, I had a spiff or two, you know, and it just didn't do nothing. It just wasn't for me. I've always been that person that just had a really natural high when it came to just being myself, right? So, but I never tried any, you know, hard substances, you know, like cocaine or crack or anything like that. And I think for me it was always the fear to take over my mind, and I wouldn't have control over it. You know, I think I was just talking about this yesterday with somebody, because my wife deals with CBD oil, and talking about, you know, we were actually talking about a young man, a youth who's an up-and-coming athlete who's decided to start using marijuana, and how it can jeopardize his opportunities, right? And we were talking about how nowadays that the marijuana that's being circulated around here, the purity is not really there anymore. There's so many strands of things that people are injecting and putting in stuff that you don't know if you share something. Like, you know, if you ain't getting it on your own and you sourcing it from somebody, or you smoking with somebody, you don't know what they may have in it. You know, you got people now posting videos of people that are laid out on the side that have had marijuana that may have been laced with arsenic and all these other different things. So I'm so proud of your journey of recognizing you retired. You know, people will always say when enough is enough, you'll know, because you'll be tired enough.
You definitely will know.
And
yes.
Yeah, and you got to that point, and even though your will was being tested constantly, there was a deeper part of your soul that was like, I don't want to do this. And I know you're saying your inside. So physically, what kind of physical damage were you experiencing? Because you said that your inside. So like your throat, your stomach. Could you elaborate on
stomach.
Those things of how that was, you know, what was happening to you physically from it?
Well, I actually ended up not acid reflux. I had H. pylori, which is bacteria in your esophagus.
What now?
H. pylori. It's called H. pylori. And yeah, it's not. You think you got an ulcer, but you don't. Your insides burn like you got an ulcer, but you don't. It's bacteria that lives inside the walls of your esophagus, and so it flares up and causes just a lot of pain. And so I had to take the purple pill, I guess Prepacid. I used to have to take the purple pill all the time, but now I don't drink pop because of it. My insides are kind of still the same. I don't eat any, like, too much things with acid in it. So, like, tomato sauce, things like that. It makes I have to eat Tums if I do something, because all of that came from from me regurgitating all the time. And so it's just certain things that I just don't do anymore. And that's, one of them. I don't drink pop either, because the acid kind of messes me up. But the thing about using cocaine is that, and I talked to my doctor about it, because studies have shown that using cocaine attacks the central nervous system. So I went to my doctor because a couple of years ago I was in a car accident, and I really believe that the car accident was like the icing on the cake of what was going on with my body behind my drug use. Right now, this is just a theory, but I said, okay, so if if cocaine damages the central nervous system, and attacks the central nervous system, and you all know that, then don't you think that there's damage done to the central nervous system? So if those cells or things are broken down, that they either have to grow back or they will not. So in some cases, the damage can't be reversed. So when people that have arthritis and people that have what is that? Myalgias. People that have myalgias, any fibromyalgia or any type of myalgia, but it's different kinds of myalgias. If they were drug users, that's where it came from. And she said, I talked to a couple of doctors, and they don't know because the study hasn't been done. And I'm like, okay, but so that's my thing, because if you think about it, the nerve, you have your bones, and then the nerves protect the nerves protect the bones, and the muscles protect the nerves. So if your muscles are all jacked up, it could be because if the job of the muscle is protect the nerve, and we know the bones ain't broken because when your bones are broke, then there has to be something going on with your nerves that's causing the muscle to react the way that it's reacting. But nobody knows that because they haven't done a study about it. But that's my take on it, because I have arthritis really bad throughout my entire body. I suffer right now from chronic pain, and I truly believe it was a result from my drug use, and then the car accident was like the icing on the cake. That's what I believe. I don't know. This is just a theory, and so I suggested to a scientist that I know that they actually do a study about it, to find out if this is true, because if you know that cocaine attacks the central nervous system, there has to be damage that's done, especially from years and years and years of doing it. It only makes sense. So I go by what makes sense and what's logical. I'm a thinker.
Exactly.
I have a brain for that reason, I did get an A in science class, you know what I mean?
I know that's right. But you know what, Audua, everything that you're saying has so much essence and depth to it, because what's going on is that there's so many people that are fighting and dealing with these type of struggles, but they really don't know how to deal with them, right? So until somebody, first of all, a lot of times if a person that is having bouts with drug addiction, a lot of times they don't want to hear somebody who hasn't been in that space, because they don't feel like you can understand or relate, right? So people can't really hear you. I think for you, what is the response that you get when you speak publicly about your journey?
Most people say, "Oh, I'm so happy that you did that." It takes courage to tell your story, to admit that you had an issue. Thank you for doing that.
Exactly.
Tell me more. That's pretty much it. It's more appreciation of not being afraid to share my story. No, nothing like really in detail. But because one thing I'm not is shy. And so I don't just talk about my story. I talk about, ow, dang, cat is biting me.
Okay. Okay.
Because the kitten is biting this stew stank out of me. I don't just talk about my story, but I talk about things that I see culturally that goes on with our people.
Yes.
And I call it out. I call it thing a thing. And so
right.
I get a lot of pushback, and I get I'm a lot calmer than I used to be. So it's in all in the presentation, but I do that as well. If it's something that's going on, I say something.
Mm-hmm.
So, and a lot of times people appreciate my some people, more people appreciate it than not.
I can attest to that. That makes sense. So for you, what was the process of starting the organization Off the Blue Couch?
Oh, my goodness.
And your reasons behind that. And I was going to say your reasons behind that.
Okay. So at first, for 10 years, I have been talking about a calm place to be. I am going to start a women's transitional housing for women getting out of prison. And the name of it is going to be a calm place to be. For 10 years, I said that. And then all of a sudden, I met somebody. I met a woman, a young lady that I had never met before, and that she challenged me on my capacity. That I had to understand that I am not equipped to deal with you, to help you. I'm not equipped to work with you. The only thing I could do for you is love you and pray for you. And if you need something from me, let me know, and I will do my best to do that. But I can't deal with you. And I thought to myself, what if I get 10 more people, women like her, that challenge me beyond measure? I mean, challenge my patience to the point where somebody make you so angry. You love them, but they make you so angry you feel like punching them in their throat, but you know you can't. To challenge you to the point where it makes the top of your head hurt.
Okay. Is this somebody that you met that was not a friend? It was somebody you met that just needed to have the support of what your organization provided?
Well, this is before. This is before the organization piece. This is before that. This was
I understand.
Me.
Okay.
Yeah, this is before all of that. So I'm saying this is what made me. I'm letting you know how I got to Off the Blue Couch, right? So there was a complex thing. When I met this young lady, I realized I can't do this. This is not what I could do. So I was a student at North Hennepin Community College, and I got my AA degree, right? So I was commencement speaker. And I had to tell my story of how I got off the Blue Couch. I was actually, I was commencement speaker. I was in the NHCC magazine. I won scholarships behind telling my story, how I got off the Blue Couch. And so people were responsive to it. And I knew that I couldn't do a calm place to be because I'm not equipped to handle that. But what I am equipped to handle is to tell my story, to do workshops on other topics that I'm familiar with, along with research. And I can handle people in small doses. You know what I mean? I can handle it.
Without getting overwhelmed. Right.
Yep. In small doses, I can answer questions. I could be a sponsor. You know, like in AA and NA, you have a sponsor, and you're dealing with somebody, even though it's kind of ongoing, but it's in small doses. It's not every day, all day. So I had to learn that about me. That was about me. That wasn't about them, anybody else. And so once I realized that, which was a good thing before I had invested money into something that I wasn't equipped to deal with, I said Off the Blue Couch would be a little bit easier to do, making the transition, because this is what I know. Because it's about me.
Exactly.
And in me telling my story, I don't always tell it. It's the same story, but depending on the circumstances, how it's told, and different topics that I can discuss. And it always helps somebody because people are appreciative when you give them you in doses too. So it's not just me dealing with them; it's them dealing with me in smaller doses.
Right.
So that's where off the blue couch came from. So I can deal with it and deal with you, or I can help you in an hour, or two, but we don't have to interact all day. You understand what I'm saying?
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. And you know what? It's important to know what your lane is and what you can and can't do. Because sometimes what we fall into the trap is we're trying to do too much. We're overcompensating. And really and truly, that's how you have to take life in doses. I remember you said earlier when you were just kind of giving your testament, you said, I got to start over or start at this day. And you know what? I myself, I'm not dealing with drug addiction, but sometimes just life stuff is so much. And if you look at all of it, it'll shut you down. So I have to bring it in and say, you know what, today, at this moment, and sometimes we have to have, my wife say, at this moment, I'm okay, right? And she lives and she advocates about bipolar disorder and mental illness, and she'll say, sometimes it's too much, and you just have to take the doses of that moment and get through that moment.
That's right. That's right. That's right, because you have to deal with it in small doses.
Yes.
And people only want things in small doses too. People they don't want you in your totality. They only want a piece of you in small doses. So it's all give and take in small doses is what it is.
Yep, you're right. Because it's like one of those things. If you're at a conference, or if you've been in a classroom that has been like a lecture type of format. It's been said that only so much of the conversation, the statement, or whatever is being given, you're going to hold on to. It's going to be retained. Correct. And after a while, it just becomes you don't tune out, or you're not necessarily holding on to everything that's being given.
That's
and I think, in saying that, like even to tea time, what I love about tea time is, this is going to be a minimum 30 minutes. But beyond that, it can expand to an hour. Right, but it's still a dose. It's not like an all-day lecture series. It's a good dose, And from it, if you need to pause it, take a note and say, "Man, wait a minute." Just like when I'm in my mornings or during the course of the day, if I need to have some meditation and I need to listen to an audio book or I'm listening to a video or something from YouTube, sometimes you get something. And out of the whole 40 minutes, maybe there was something that was said at 22 minutes, 0.5.
Exactly.
Everything else made sense.
That's right. Very good. Very good.
It's amazing. Amazing, right?
So today is small doses, right? That's what we came up with.
Small doses, man. Small doses. Even when you're sick, I can't give you 12 pills of Benadryl or NyQuil. I got to give it to you in small doses.
Small doses. Look at that.
But it's small doses. Yeah, that's good,
right? That was good. We came up with that together.
Small doses. And look, this is
small doses.
Right now, this is going to be documented today. Right here at 11:35 a.m., 10:35 Central Time. It has been documented. It's been official. Audua, we're going to take a quick commercial and then come right back, honey. This is good.
Very good.
You're listening to the Loudmouth Radio Network.
Ladies, are you looking for the next best find? Donche Shoutique will bring out your inner glam. The lady herself, Miss Donche, is dedicated to providing you with the latest in Hotlanta fashion footwear. It'll make you stand out at every event. In addition to our amazing prices, we are the go-to source for high fashion footwear. So stop by and shop online. We're sure to have the right shoes for you. www.donche-shoes.com. That's www.donche SHE-SHOES.com. Don Shay's is the only place you can go to still be sane and have a sure side.
You're listening to the Loudmouth Radio Network. Sunny and Jazzy of Loudmouth TV is taking off with a brand new show, Off the Market, with its first season within the beautiful state of Hawaii, featuring some of the most sought-after areas of beachfront and inner island properties on the island of Maui and Oahu. Tune in to each episode with host Jazzy Jones-Smith as she talks to featured real estate agents as they showcase their open house listings to private homeowner tours where you just might find a house that you may want to take off the market.
We are back from our commercial break. We're live on Loudmouth Radio. Our studio lines are open 347-826-7520. And prior to our commercial break, we was having some real good aha moments with my special guest, Ms. Audua of Off the Blue Couch, nonprofit organization based out of the Minneapolis, Minnesota area. Audua, are you guys right there?
Yep, Minneapolis, Minnesota. That's right. Yep, Minneapolis. Yes, awesome, ma'am. Man.
And before we went to commercial break, we had an aha moment that said small doses. Today's that's gonna carry me through today, man. Small doses.
I know.
Because man, I tell you something. The last couple, look, we're in 80s now. A lot of us was like 2018 was a beat, and it beat up and it whipped some folks. It took some people through some things. 2019 has come in with a vengeance, and we're already on the 10th of April. And I don't know about you guys, but we have had so much death, and as far as people that we love, friends, family, extended family, beyond. But also, I also recognize that there is a time for closure, and there's some things that have to be put to bed, or death has to come to it. It has to be an end to it. And so I'm just so appreciative. I knew that this show was going to give some transformational messages. I knew that there was going to be some things. You know, I know that we have been messaging over the last couple of weeks since you set up for your show. You know, just how excited you were to come on and talk. And from the first time I spoke to you and had an opportunity to see and hear some of the things you were doing, I already knew that this was going to be an incredible story and an incredible show. And I know that those who may not be listening to this live right now, and they listen to it at any point near down the line, are going to receive some amazing things from it. The incredible thing that I like when you sent over your bio and you were talking about what your organization is providing, and these are, you know how, and I ain't trying to call none of our nonprofit folks out. We have a nonprofit organization for Words to Action Outreach Ministries, full effect. We support other organizations on top of whatever things that we're focused on, from homelessness, mental illness, sex trafficking, all of those things are our cores. But you know how sometimes, Audua, we see and we'll find that a lot of people will just take what somebody else's messages, incorporate the little descriptors to it, and say, yeah, this is what we're about. Not saying that they're not doing the work, but sometimes we don't take the time to find the language to best define what our missions and focuses are, right? So you'll seemingly start to see, especially if there's some friendship of people that have organizations, a lot of the words and the terms that they're using is shadowed in another organization's core values, right? When I got your information and you started sharing what your organization is focused on, it was such a breath of fresh air to see something that I don't typically see, which is you're saying, look, we're making supportive services for soft skill development, career exploration, historical overview, environmental education. So I read that I want you to give insight of what these 4 core segments are about for Off the Blue Couch. And that way somebody can have a really clear understanding from your mouth what the organization is set out to do.
So soft skills, we all know what those are, is how to pretty much communicate or to get through a process of doing something. And so what I've come to find out with that is that we have issues with our communication because sometimes we can't find the words that we need. So what we do is we use anger to deflect from what's happening.
Correct.
And it may not be anger, it may be passion. Because we're trying to explain something and we know what we're trying to say and you know what we're saying, but you want to say it, you want us to use those $5 words, as I call them. Or they are called. You got to use big words. You got to use big words. You got to use them $5 words.
Okay.
When even in the Bible, Jesus said, "Keep it simple." So don't.
Right.
So we work on that. We in workshops that I do, we talk about that. With the historical overview, is that I gained a lot of information when I started going to college. Especially history of our people, and how important the history of our people is. Because in order for us to move forward, we have to understand where we came from. And see, these new people want to bypass the fact that slavery took place, or white people want to go bypass the fact that slavery took place, and that we are still suffering behind the effects of slavery up until now. And most people think because Barack Obama was our president, our first black president, that we have arrived, and that's just not true. And the reason that I and along with a lot of us understand that that's not true is because we're still struggling the same place that we've been struggling all the time. And that's why we have this gap in income and wealth. We have this gap in education, and we have all these gaps. And so part of it is to utilize the system within the system and how to work outward on getting our point across of the changes that need to be made. Okay, and so that's what the historical overview is, and to know what you're talking about, reading books and having the information like the new Jim Crow and Dr. Joy's book Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome, and understand how all these things and these systems were set up and designed for us to fail. While we're sitting there thinking it's us and we've done something, we're not doing something. The system is designed for us to fail. It wasn't made for us, and a lot of people don't understand that, or they don't know that. So we have to talk about it, and it's about having conversations. I was talking to my advisor a few minutes ago because I'm still in school myself, and I was talking to her, and I told her the reason that we have the issues that we have is because of cultural differences. It's not about the color of our skin. It's about how each of us, even though we want the same thing, which is the basic needs, the issue is the how, the why, and the what of the conversation, our behaviors, mannerisms, and thoughts.
Right.
And we do it differently.
Right.
Culturally, we're different. And so when I explained that to her, it was like a white light moment, and she understood that it's not about the color of our skin, it's about our cultural differences and embracing those. Because, see, what happens is white folks want us to always assimilate, and a lot has been taken away from us as it is, as a people.
Exactly.
Things have been taken, our culture has been taken away from us, and now you want us to assimilate and you want us to keep doing it. Why do we have to? Why don't you try to understand us and get to know us for who we are instead of keep trying to change who you want us to be?
Exactly. As well as the center of control. And it's sad how prevalent, things are for us.
Yes. And now it's so obvious. It's like a slap in the face.
It is. Absolutely. And it just doesn't let up. It's like the more we chip away, the more it's sent back.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, what is it going to take? it's real questions of like, what is it gonna take?
Right.
You know,
but we just have to keep persevering through it.
Right. You have to, because if you do not, it doesn't allow us the room to improve. You know, so you have to call it out. You got to call it out.
Yes, you do, and that's what I do.
You got to call it out. You got to call it out.
Thing.
Because ignoring it and not acknowledging it is not going to work through it. Right.
Right.
So.
Right.
I want you to talk on. We got about 15 minutes.
Okay.
And I want to ask you to kind of elaborate on your blog that you're doing.
Waking Up Black.
Centerpiece. Yes, because you're kind of touching on it, but I want you to give a little more insight on just what that is and why should people connect to it. Okay.
So. Waking Up Black was an idea that I came up with. The way God talks to me is I have answers that I need in the morning when I wake up. And so it hit me, waking up black. How do I feel about waking up black? And there are instances where I have to prepare myself daily. If I'm going out, I have to prepare myself to be in white space. And I'm not the only person that does that, but we don't realize that that's what we're doing. So Jamar Clark, when Jamar Clark got killed here a few years back, they had at the 4th Precinct, they had the stand, they had the settlement, they stayed out there for 40 some odd days or whatever. And so there was some hope because Nakima Levy-Pounds was overseeing that process, and she had a lot of support and everything. There was hope that something would give. So the day of the Jamar Clark verdict of the police shooting and killing him, I was at school. And my instructor, because I was getting my bachelor's in human services, and my instructor, we watched it. We live streamed it in class. And we were sitting there watching the verdict, and when they said that those police officers, when Mike Freeman stood there and said that those policemen were going to get off for killing Jamar Clark, my heart went in my toe, along with quite a few other people. And I knew at that moment that I needed to go home. And I knew that I needed to go home because if any white person, and I'm not, and I know there are allies and there are some white people that don't get it and there are some that do, but at that point, at that moment in my life, if anybody, even people that I care about, had came up to me and said anything to me that day, it wasn't, and I was going to be the one who was going to get the short end of the stick.
Right.
I said, I was going to get the. That's right. I was going to get the short end of the stick. So immediately, I told my instructor, I got to go, right? Because the more things change, the more things stay the same. And I got to go because my instructor was a white lady. I appreciate you doing this for us. However, right now I got to go. And I ran literally to my car, got in my car, and I came home, and that's why I stayed for the rest of the day, because at that point, I just couldn't take the world and its system, so I needed to be in my own world, which is the safety of my own home, to protect myself from further harm in my people, right? Myself and my people.
Okay.
And so out of that came Waking Up Black, and how do you feel every day waking up in the skin that you live in? And so Waking Up Black gives the opportunity. It's like a diary almost, but letting the world know in words what we deal with every day. Because why do we have to continue, as black people, have to continue to explain it over and over and over to some people who don't want to get it anyway. But if you read it because y'all like data, if you read it, maybe you'll get a better understanding. And that's what the idea is for us to get it out, to be healing, for us to get it out and say it without saying it, and getting it out, writing it down in a journal, kind of, putting it on pen to paper, and to explain how we feel every day. So it's a healing process for us and for other people, for understanding for us and understanding for them. And that's where the theory of Waking Up Black came from, the blog Waking Up Black came from, out of what happened to Jamar Clark.
I'm gonna
because
you guys,
every day that I'm black.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, every day that I'm black, I go through something. Every day. I was just talking to my instructor, and I'm like, when are we going to get a break? Do we ever get a break? We don't. How do we deal with that? And that's part of where Waking Up Black comes from, because if we can get it out on pen and paper and put it out there, then it'll be healing for us, because we hold so much inside. And that's how we ended up with all the issues that we have health-wise. But we need to get it out, and that's part of the process, creative expression, getting it out without actually saying the words.
Absolutely. I thoroughly agree. When it's not being challenged, it makes it easier to just try to overlook and walk over it. Since that shooting and many others, we've had pretty much a consistency of the same result. Now, the Laquan McDonald, I don't think I'm saying his name wrong, in Chicago, that shooting situation was way after the fact that evidence was held, stuff like that. You wonder why we're dealing with so much post-traumatic stress disorders. I remember just, the difference of feeling when we were in Hawaii for some time and seeing the police and not having a different feeling of saying, oh, they're not going to roll up on us and we don't have to feel alarmed, that it could trigger be something else, and you don't even realize how you carry a lot of those anxieties and thoughts to other places because of what you're seeing,
Right.
Our society now has the ability to share things to where it's visible and out in the open. So it makes it a lot harder to mask and to get away with things. I think that everything you said today has given such an impactful message and thought process for those who have, it may not be you that may be dealing with drug addiction, but somebody, whether it's a family member or a friend. And, for you, Audua, I know that you guys are based out of Minnesota, but do you ever come out of that area into other markets, or are you open to that?
I am very open to it. I am so open to it, because I have one more thing I would like to share really quick, if that's possible.
Please do.
Okay, so with the environmental piece, we have a mascot, and his name is Rusty, and I don't know if you saw that when you went on our website. His name is Rusty, and he is a paper bag that recycles.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, Rusty, and he has a rap. Yeah, Rusty and the crew. And so we talk about and we teach recycling. Yes. Recycling, composting, and overall sustainability. That's what we do, Rusty and the crew, because Rusty doesn't talk, so the crew does it all. But Rusty, his body language and the things that he do, is so impactful that he doesn't have to say a word. And it's, with like the parks and things, they had, and fire prevention has Smokey the Bear, and we have Rusty the paper bag that recycles. and we're actually the only black institution in Minneapolis that works with recycling. We may be one of the only couple. You know what I mean? We might not be the only one. I'm going to go back and say that. But I want to say we're the first of 5. And so it's very important. And that's a big thing. Recycling and composting and sustainability is we trying to get back to that. So or we're trying to get to that point with the recycling, but the being sustainable. We've always been sustainable, and so that's what Rusty and the crew does. So, yeah, I'm pretty excited about him, and we're looking to, because what you see on our website is Rusty the prototype. So we are in the process of trying to. I have had someone working on the new look of Rusty. From his original look, because Rusty's been around since 2014, and he has been updated, and we are working to get a functional mascot costume and not what you see on the website. So that's what we're working toward with Rusty.
Oh, that is so awesome. And I actually posted, and we're going to invite you to visit their website. If you would, I will give them your website and all your social media handles and contact information.
It's offthebluecouch.org is our website. And then Facebook, Off the Blue Couch. Our email is offthebluecouch@gmail.com. So we just off the blue couch because we're going to get off the blue couch and stay there eventually.
I know that's right. I love it. Now, do you guys have a Twitter handle?
I have. I am on Twitter, and I think it's Off the Blue Couch at Audua. I think, because I just recently made a Twitter account. Get down, little kid.
That'll work. So you know to look it up, Off the Blue Couch. You know to look up Off the Blue Couch.
If you just look up Off the Blue Couch, yep.
You know, I want to thank you so much for this opportunity.
Okay.
I was just going to say, I wanted to tell you thank you so much for this opportunity to come on and speak about, everything vividly, and for having the bravery, like I said earlier, to give your truth. As so many have said, your story is your story, and it has a purpose. And for you to tell your story in the way in which it can help someone else, that's all, if you're able to do that, it makes a world of a difference. So, Sweetie, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, my goodness, this is great.
Anyone, I was going to say, anyone that may want to, I'm going to just throw you out there right now, anyone that may want to, reserve the opportunity to have Off the Blue Couch, a nonprofit organization, partner up with them, invite them out to different events. Definitely, we're going to connect. When we make our way to Minneapolis, from Word to Action, our nonprofit organization, and sister partner of the radio network, we love to be able to come into different markets and assist. So I know at some point we're going to have an opportunity to connect and have a physical opportunity to meet each other. And I'm so grateful for you, and I appreciate your time today.
I am grateful for you and for reaching out and allowing. We got to thank Facebook for She Means Business. We got to throw that out there because it had not been for She Means Business. Hashtag She Means Business. We probably wouldn't have had this opportunity. And I appreciate the connection from them. And it was and I'm so grateful for it. And I just thank you so much for having Off the Blue Couch, because I am Off the Blue Couch. And I appreciate you so much for reaching out and for allowing us this time.
You're welcome.
And for the networking opportunity. How about that?
Yes, I love it. Thank you so much. And shout, like you said, shout out to Colleen and Jennifer with Civvy Dinners and Facebook. She Means Business, as you said, hashtag She Means Business has made a wonderful connection of sisterhood for allow us to be able to have an advanced opportunity to be grouped into a space of positivity and encouragement, which is so important. Female founders. And we're so excited to see the growth of others, and I'm so grateful for you. Thank you so much, darling. And I want to just give you an awesome blessing. You're so welcome, honey, and have an amazing work week.
You too, darling. We'll talk soon. Take care.
You too, dear. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yep, bye-bye.
All right, good people. We have concluded this another amazing episode of Tea Time, the Entrepreneur Academy. Off the Blue Couch, nonprofit organization based out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Look them up, offthebluecouch.org. Follow them on Facebook. OTBC 2018 is a link that'll take you directly to their page, or you can just do a search off the blue couch, and you'll see the information. We're going to take a quick commercial break and wrap the show.
You're listening to the Loudmouth Radio Network. Recent auto accident, back pain, neck pain, stress, headaches? Ewing Chiropractic can help. Here at Ewing Chiropractic, our office utilizes an approach of pain relief measures for the treatment of auto accidents, slip and fall, sports, and on-the-job injuries, as well as acute and chronic pain. We can be reached at 678-586-3592 and located at 5459 North Henry Boulevard, Keene in Stockbridge, Georgia. Healing the injured one spine at a time. We can be reached at ewingchiropractic.com. You're listening to the Loudmouth Radio Network.